I was 23 years old, sitting at the kitchen table with my head in my hands, while my 3-year-old son played in the living room. Moments earlier, my husband had come home from work and told me he'd been fired. Rent was due that following week, and the check he'd received was not going to be enough to cover it. I didn't have a job or an income coming in right then. In that moment, I lost hope. All I could see around me was a parade of unending problems, and not one person in my life that I knew whose life was any better off than my own. Was this all I had to look forward to in life? Problem after problem, moment after moment, day after day until I died? Was there never going to be a break from this? Or was I really doomed to that fate? I just couldn't find a reason to keep living if life was just going to be one long struggle. What was the point of it all? There was a bottle of ibuprofen on the kitchen table, and I looked at it, wondering just how many of those I would have to take so I could end it all. Then I thought about my son. Who was going to take care of him when I was gone? I couldn't trust my husband to do it. The two of them hated one another, and my husband had always told me if I died, he would kill himself. I didn't want to leave my son to my own family. None of them were in a position to care for him. My husband's family might be in a position to care for him financially, but with the way they treated him, I didn't want to entrust my son to their care. I sure wasn't going to leave him to the state to raise. For the briefest moment, the thought entered my mind that if there was no hope for my life, why leave my son in this world to face that same struggle alone? Why not take him with me? It was the realization that I just contemplated taking my son's life that jarred me out of my suicidal thoughts. I was not going to take my son's life. And if he was going to live, I was going to live for his sake. He needed me, and I was going to be there for him. And I was going to work and find a way to make our lives better, no matter how long it took me and no matter how hard the battle would be. Lessons in abundance. 16 years later, I was sitting in my living room chair with an eviction notice in my hands, tears running down my face, praying for God to help me figure out how to pay my rent so we wouldn't end up homeless again. I heard God tell me, take a deep breath. As I did, my lungs filled with oxygen. He asked me, did you have any problem getting air into your lungs? I answered no. He asked me, why do you suppose that is? I said, because my lungs work. He chuckled. Would your lungs working help if there was no air to breathe? I snorted. Of course not. He continued, long before you were ever conceived, I created all the oxygen you would ever need in your lifetime. More oxygen than you and 1 trillion souls could ever need. Abundance is your birthright. That's when I asked him an important question. If abundance is my birthright, why can't I access what I need? He asked me a question in return. If you were in a room filled with oxygen, but something was blocking your lungs from receiving enough air, what would you need to do to get the air to flow into you? That was easy. Remove the blockage. He told me, just so. Remove the blockage, and you will find an abundance of everything you need flowing effortlessly to you. That was the day I realized that somewhere out there was a bank account with my name on it containing all the things I needed now or would ever need in my lifetime. All I had to do was find it and figure out how to access it. Those lessons, though, wouldn't come until a few years later. Discovering the combination to my bank account. One Saturday morning in March of 2019, I remember waking up feeling like shouting, I have problems! I have problems! Normally that shout would have been in anger or bitterness, but on that morning it was with joy. That's because the dream that woke me showed me that every time I found a solution to a problem in my past, that solution was something I could sell to those who are now facing that same problem. The problems in my past were potential money for today, and the problems in my future were money for my future. I was never going to run out of problems, and that meant I was never going to run out of opportunities to prosper financially and grow spiritually. For the first time in my life, I had a concrete understanding of what the words "God works all things for the good of those who love him and are called according to his purpose" truly meant. Later in November of 2019, I would publish a book called Turning Problems into Profits based on that dream and my own experience as an entrepreneur. You can find it on Amazon, or order a copy anywhere books are sold, or request a copy at your local library if you don't have the money to buy it. I'll put a link to the book below. When life is shoveling manure in your direction faster than you can process it. Right now, for a lot of us, life is shoveling a lot of manure in our direction. Whether it's worries about war, or higher prices at the pump and the grocery store, or rents that are escalating above our ability for work to keep up with it, there's just a lot of things that are causing stress, fear, and friction. It's easy to lose hope in these moments and to feel defeated by everything that's going on. But I don't want you to be deceived and miss out on what's being done for you because of it. Most of us like the rain, and most of us appreciate the sunshine. We love the beauty of flowers, trees, and green grass. But the beauty of flowers, trees, and green grass doesn't come without the ugliness of soil, manure, earthworms, and bacteria, as well as the rain and sunshine. It takes all of it working together to produce the beauty that warms our hearts and lightens our burdens. Soil holds the roots in place. Manure provides the nutrients. Bacteria break down the manure so that the plants can absorb those nutrients. Earthworms keep the soil light and airy so that the plants can push their roots down deep and grow stronger. The more manure there is, the more nutrients there are, and the greater the abundance of the fruits that the plant can produce. If life is shoveling manure in your direction faster than you can process it, that means you're about to enter a season of unprecedented growth and fruitfulness, and you are being prepared for that season. Rather than losing hope in the face of the challenges, recognize them for what they are and let them lead you to greater hope in a better, brighter tomorrow. This is Brandy M. Miller with A Dose of Hope, where I share life lessons I've learned about how to hold on to hope in the darkness. I invite you to like this video and subscribe to this channel if you want to get another dose of hope.